Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a new episode of Flesh Wound Fist, where we review your and our favorite action films. This is the world's first and only combination trivia host and professional wrestling announcer of Chilean descent that currently resides in Southern California, Ozzy V. And with me, as always, on this program, first in the Northern California Bay Area, world-famous juggler Greg Larson. How you doing, Greg?
Doing great. Football season's about to start, so life is good. How about yourself, Ozzy?
No bets. No bets. I'm not going to fall into any trap. It's like, oh, so you're not confident about it? No. Screw you. No bets.
I'm glad you've
None are going to
already
happen this
said
season.
no.
Don't even
No,
try.
I'm not
Don't even try to
confident
troll
enough.
me. Don't even try to bait me. It's not going to happen.
No
No,
bets needed.
no bets. None.
I get it.
Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, also with us, Flesh Wound producer.
Sorry, clear my throat.
I bet he won't have a certain trophy end of the year. Oh wait, what? Yes, producer Todd. Check again. I mean,
Yes.
you've already groomed us by keeping it out of the shot, so when it disappears naturally, it won't be as obvious to us.
Well, he
Yeah,
doesn't
okay.
have it right now.
Okay.
because
All right. Moving on. This
lost.
show is not about my.
Oh, did he already lose? See, I can't even remember.
This is not about fantasy football trophies. This is about a particular action film released in 1986, that being Big Trouble in Little China, starring Kurt Russell. Todd, do you have a trailer available?
I do, and I'll roll it.
This is Jack Burton in the Pork Chop Express, and I'm talking to whoever's listening out there.
It's a pretty amazing planet we live on here, and a man would have to be some kind of fool to think we're all alone in this universe.
There is a hidden world where ancient evil weaves a modern mystery.
What's going on here? Is this some kind of...
Magic. The darkest magic.
They call it Little China.
Finally, we shall bring order out of chaos.
It's where Big Trouble was waiting for Jack Burton.
Who? Jack Burton. Me.
Jack!
Jack?
Jack!
They told him to go to hell.
You make one move.
And that's just where he's going.
Somebody, I don't care who, tell me what is going on.
How are you gonna spring us?
I have no idea. There are many mysteries, many unanswerable questions, even in a life as short as yours.
My destiny rests in your capable hands.
Hey, I'll do my best.
Oh God, is this really happening?
This is gonna take Cracker Jack timing, Wang. 1, 2, 3.
We may be trapped.
Total concentration.
Safety. Yeah.
You ready, Jack?
I was born ready.
Way to go, Jack.
Jack Burton's coming to rescue your summer.
Hey, what more can a guy ask for?
20th Century Fox presents Kurt Russell in John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China.
What a font.
It's on the reflexes.
And that was the trailer for Big Trouble in Little China. It was again released on July 2nd, 1986, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 99 minutes, directed by John Carpenter, written by Gary Goldman, David Z. Weinstein. I don't know if there's relation there, Todd. You might get excited. And W.D. Richter, starring Kurt Russell, Kim Cattrall, Dennis Dunn. Initial thoughts on this? This was one of the movies that attracted me, as like this poster I have behind me, seeing it in the video store. Always attracted me and always wanting to rent it. And I remember it being, I think at age 6, it was a lot more enjoyable than at age 40. Obviously, because when you're 6 years old, you'll let some things slide. But I think there was some sort of uh,
Well, Ozzy's already wrong, but I'll let him finish.
I really like seeing Kurt Russell and John Carpenter. Like, I like that. I mean, it's like seeing De Niro and Scorsese, certain degree. Uh, so you just get like you got a sense that he was having a lot of fun with the role. And I actually was reading up on this before we got started. Kurt Russell had actually been apprehensive in taking the role because he'd released a bunch of flops before this, notably probably one of them being used cars. But
Best of Times was another one.
Carpenter had said, "I don't care. I want you in this." So it was cool to see that, and you could kind of get the sense that Russell's kind of relieved that a director's having that kind of level of confidence, and he kind of has this essence of, I don't know, like it's bizarre. I don't know if you guys sense it, but to tell he really enjoyed this role versus others, I guess. I guess maybe the most recent thing we've seen him in it as a group it would be Used Cars. So I'm comparing this and that, and while that was a straight comedy, it just got a sense that he had more fun with this one here.
Yeah, whenever he works with Carpenter, there's always a little bit more going on.
Like they're on the same page, they're in tune. They got the same exact minds, but they know each other well enough that Carpenter puts Russell in his best moments, basically knows how to utilize them. Sorry, Greg, I cut you off.
Oh no, I mean, just how can he not have fun with like the uniqueness of this film? And plus he's like this wisecracking, kind of a badass and also like funny kind of character. Who doesn't want to be that? So yeah, I'm sure this was right in his wheelhouse.
As a truck driver, he's the everyman, the common man. So
Yeah.
that really resonated with a lot of people and easy to get on board with that. Any other initial thoughts?
Well, I remember watching this. I don't remember how old I was. I just remember my brothers had it and they had me watch it. And at the time, I hadn't really watched a lot of action flicks, and so getting to watch this, I was like, "Oh, this is amazing!" Plus, it's like crazy. But I do have to say I remember as a kid being confused because like all those like characters with like all the crazy powers and such. Meanwhile, like one guy has like cocktail forks spitting on his hands, and I was like, I don't know about that.
He's gonna kill that charcuterie board.
That's right. So, but and I remember that then, and it was a good laugh to remember how I felt about it. So watching it again this time.
I don't remember exactly when I saw it, but I know it was on home video, and it was I didn't see the theatrical release. And I would have been like 9 or 10 when this hit theaters, so it seems like I would have been all about it. But yeah, but ever since I saw it on video, I kept going back to it, watching it, and it's one I do go back to quite often. Most of the Carpenter stuff, Carpenter and Russell too.
Now, while this could be seen as a hybrid action comedy, I think personally lean more towards action, maybe 65-35, and had a humor in that 35% portion rate, 35%. But still had some lines in here, ones that weren't expecting you to make you chuckle, but just caught you off guard. Like one specifically, this is my one here, where it says, what does it say here? Hell of boiling oil. You're kidding. Yeah, I am. It says keep out. Like that was just one that I was not expecting. And the delivery of it was so perfect. And the fact of the initial line of hell of burning oil, on paper, that wouldn't seem like something that would fly so well, but because there's so much had already happened that kind of got you in a mindset to accept stuff that you would normally hear. When you first heard Hell of Boiling Oil, you're like, oh, that fits this area. Yeah, sure. So the follow-up of that got me pretty good.
Yeah, for me, I mean, first off, the classic lines, several running bit of, you know what old Jack Burton would say in a situation like this, kind of a, he had several variations of that, which, by the way, oftentimes after watching this movie, there's a good 2 weeks where, like, I'll randomly come across people and they'll say something. I'll be like, well, you know what old Jack Burton would say. But in this, there's a moment where it's near the end and there's the whole fight scene going on, and he starts to go into that, and the guy goes, who? And just that moment. And it makes you think, I wonder if that's the same feeling all those truck drivers over the radio feel. They're like, who's this guy? Like, yeah.
Todd.
Well, I know with Fist it's a little different favorite moment. Like, yeah, humor wise, Kurt Russell's awesome in it. I mean, the supporting characters, it's all great. But the one moment I really enjoy is the introduction of the character. Just the way he's introduced in the opening credits, and he's just on the scene, but it really sets up, and with the Carpenter music going, I just love the opening setup. So I'm gonna pick that as my favorite moment to highlight.
It does set things up kind of perfectly in terms of how things go, with that kind of unique Carpenter soundtrack sound. But going into the ratings here, I felt that I'm not sure exactly what it was that made it feel different when I was a kid. I felt this was pacing a little bit slower than what I recall, and I don't know if it was just time to stall and they were just trying to hit a particular minute. But it seems like this could have been cut down like by an extra or by about 15.
Yeah, like when they rescue everyone and then go back, it's like, just rescue everyone.
just rescue everybody the first time, and you won't need to go back.
That's right.
Yeah. However, still, I don't know if it's just because I saw this when I was so young and I just kind of like grew up with it, that I still enjoyed having it on. And as cheesy or as bad as some of the lines were, or some moments were, I was still able to appreciate it, even though maybe part of me should be upset or angry. For some reason, it works with when Carpenter does it for me, I guess. So, however, it's not without its faults, and I can't see past everything. However, I'm gonna have to give it a 3.5 from me. Whereas before, probably when I was a kid, I'd probably rank it closer to 4.5. But looking back and noticing the pacing and stalling and editing, if it was cleaned up a little bit, maybe I would enjoy it a little bit more. But a 3.5 for me.
I have never heard anyone disrespect John Carpenter's pacing in my entire life. I have a feeling the board's going to disagree with you on this one.
They can disagree with me. That's fine.
Man.
It's just an opinion. They Live. Okay, maybe about this. I felt it more. I felt the pacing being off more in this than They Live. I had no problem with. Escape from New York, I had no problem with. But maybe just because I was perfectly fine just being in that world and just being immersed in it. I don't know. I couldn't really lose myself in it this time. Then
that sounds like a you problem, not a pacing.
Okay, then fine.
Wow.
Then it's a me problem, I guess.
I really feel like if like it was possible, you'd be punched in the kidney right now. Like, Todd looks like he's getting as red as the background on our show. So, I can understand what you're saying. Like, pacing wise, but like I think it was just more the time, because movies had a little bit of a slower pace. But to me, this will like sit in that Goonies category where it doesn't matter because it is a fun ride the entire time. Like there might be some slower parts, but like I'm enjoying every step of it. And even the cheesiness, like I mean, I love Lost Skeleton, which is a whole bag of cheesy. So like
Like moldy cheese.
look, I love blue cheese. It's good.
It's
Um
delicious.
so I I oh, man, it's not an amazing like film, but dang it, do I have a blast the whole time. So I still have to give it at least a 4.5.
Okay. God.
I will say there are better Carpenter Russell picks. This would probably be out of the 5, probably be right around the 4th. So
Okay.
there are better ones in the catalog, but I still love it. It's a great time, but I get what you mean with the pacing, like being a fantasy, like more fantasy film. It feels like it should it move along faster. Like they wouldn't let a picture in this genre drag the way they do, like
Mhm.
because you're just letting stuff go on. Now it like to the next thing. So you probably feel the pacing more on this than say something like Escape from New York, because that's a different style. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Escape from New York was also like kind of had the setting where this could happen in the future. Whereas with this storyline, you're like completely like, there's no possible way
Right.
any of this is real. So when you got to the
Look,
pacing in some
look,
moment, it's like
we
you can
thought the
make
same about Idiocracy. So
well, I mean, but still get back to this point when you have that world of like pure fantasy where you pretty much have a green light to make up things as you go along.
Mhm.
But this was in the real world at the time, so that's where it's different. Is what you're saying?
Well, no,
Versus
I mean,
versus a
looking at
future
Escape from
world.
New York, you mentioned as an example. What I loved so much about Escape from New York is that it was a storyline like, oh, in the future, this could happen. Like they could make Manhattan do a giant prison. I could see that happening. Whereas this was so purely fantasy that whatever they were telling me was like, okay, sure. Okay, yeah. And maybe I just had a little bit more, there's a little bit more left to be desired.
Mhm.
Because when having this type of original idea, something like this, you have basically freedom to write up whatever you want. And we saw some very wacky creatures that had the
Yes.
kind
Do,
of were
but
evidenced by imagination. Yes, Todd.
do you know what year that they Escape from New York was set in?
No, 1997.
Yeah, that's like almost 30 years ago now.
And
All right.
I think
Hey,
Escape from LA was 2015 or 2017.
I'd have to double check, but I think it's right around there. It was 2007.
Uh,
Either way, we'll figure
No,
that
Escape
out.
from LA had to have been like maybe like 2027, but
Mhm.
I do recall New York was 1997. Oh, it was making me
Um,
chuckle.
but I just don't remember being 30 years later, so where I'm getting thrown off. But anyway, I should probably rate it, and I'm a 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5 on this one. I do enjoy this one, and yeah,
Okay, I'm not saying, it's bad. It didn't make me
yeah,
mad. I just didn't
obviously,
enjoy it as much as I did. And I
because
don't know, I do know for a fact that one of the times that I did see this was when I was visiting Chile and I was 6 years old and it was wintertime and it was so freaking cold outside. The
was
only
it
thing I
dubbed in
wanted to do was
Chilean?
no, it had subtitles.
Ah,
It had Chilean subtitles, but no, I'm just kidding.
I wanted to hear
Um,
Chilean check.
But
Unfortunately,
I guess all those movies that I saw at that 2-week period in Chile, I had a soft spot for
Mhm.
because it's how I killed my time in the wintertime. Don't ever go to South America during the wintertime, people. It's just not a good idea.
what else did you see though, Ozzy?
Uh, Ghostbusters, Goonies,
Excellent.
Joe versus the Volcano. big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's quite the collection.
Right.
Like, that's foundational.
And then I remember my sister rented Chucky. It was called in Chile. It was called Chucky. It was not called Child's Play. It was called Chucky,
Oh,
and it was referred to as El Chucky. Voy a ver el Chucky.
Was that dubbed in Chilean?
I don't know. I didn't see it.
Oh, that makes sense too.
At 6 years old, Child's Play would give me nightmares.
that doesn't stop some siblings. I know my wife talks about how her brother made her watch The Exorcist at a very young age.
That's not fun.
No.
That's not fun at all. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as of this recording on August 2nd, 2024, this film is not available to stream. However, it can be rented. What? I'm sorry, go ahead. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. I see it on Tubi here.
That's
it's free with ads.
Yeah, so it is free streaming on Tubi. So.
It can be rented though, wherever it looks to be, wherever you find your favorite content, be it Apple TV, Amazon, it is available there. And in case you are in the Orange County area this week, I'll be hosting Trivia Monday at the Rush Barn Grill in Lake Forest at 6:30, Tuesday at the Brewery in Placentia at 7 o'clock, Wednesday in Griffin's Grill at Los Alamitos at 7:30, and Thursday at the Honey Pot Meadery in Anaheim at 7:30 as well. Always free to play and prizes for the top winning teams. Come out, have a good time. Now, do you guys have anything else before we head out for the evening?
Are you ready for some football? That's about
the
it.
Understatement of the century. Asking me if I'm ready for some football is like asking me if I'm ready to win the lottery. Like, why are you even asking me? Of course, I'm always ready.
Excellent.
And there will be no bets at all. I'm not going to fall into your ruse.
No, I get it. I get it. I wouldn't either if I were you.
Yeah. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. World famous juggler Greg Larson and Flesh Wound producer Todd, and I'm Ozzy V. We'll see you next week on a brand new episode of Flesh Wound Farce.